This movie is gross. So this is going to be the first of two disclaimers that I'm going to include in this video. Life is happening around me. There is work that needs to be done in the house. And my options were to delay this video even longer, which I've already done twice now, or just allow for the fact that some occasional noise is going to kind of come in sometime in the video. And that might not be professional to go with that second one, but that's what I'm going to do today. I could wait for ideal circumstances, but I don't know when ideal circumstances are. So The Last Duel is a medieval movie starring Adam Driver, Matt Damon, Jodie Comer, and Ben Affleck. I can't say I'm a huge fan of historical dramas. I do like the medieval era though. And yes, I know this is a true story, so that makes it not fantasy. You got two friends, Matt Damon, who plays Jean de Carouche. I'm not good with pronouncing names, so you have to forgive me. Adam Driver, who plays Jacques Legree. Jodie Comer, who plays Marguerite, and Ben Affleck, who plays Pierre. Through a series of circumstances, Sir Jean and Jacques now find themselves turned enemies. That being said, if you are looking for a story about a guy who's gonna ride from kingdom to kingdom hunting down another guy that he hates, like it's not that. This is very much a 2.5 hour character piece, and I personally think this movie is heavy as hell. First thing I want to say about this movie is that it does not shy away from the brutality of the time we're living in. There's a lot of hits that are just like kind of harsh, but not just the violence. You see the brutality of the era, how women are treated, how much honor means to men, and how they can become social pariahs if they lose their honor. How corrupt rulers kind of could go around doing whatever they really wanted. There's a lot of injustice that happens in this movie, and it's why Sir Jean and Jacques find themselves going against each other. There are some ugly truths in this movie that you have to confront. The part of you that is looking for human decency wants to argue, but the logical part that realizes that you live in an unfair world has to acknowledge some of these ugly truths. Something happens, something absolutely horrific actually, and it's the main incident that sets these two at cross purposes. I really think that you can display whatever it is you want to display as long as you give the proper warning. That being said, the way in which they present it, I do think was a little unnecessary. So what I'm going to do is, because I feel like this is the kind of thing that can make or break a person's desire to see this movie, what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish the review, and then I'm going to include this spoiler about what this incident is at the end after I recommend or don't recommend the movie. When characters sit down and really just talk about their perspective on life and why they find themselves in a situation and what is really important to them, it becomes very clear that you're not watching a movie about heroes and villains. There is a character who does something that is just irredeemably vile, and that is true. It's kind of like The Prestige, where you're watching two characters who, because of the paths they're going down, neither one is really the hero of the story. They are both doing and moving in ways that are kind of unjustifiable. They're so emotionally tone deaf and are so caught up in themselves that it it's like you're sitting there and you're just watching two petulant children really go after each other, claiming some noble purpose, and in concept it may be, but their reasons for wanting what they want is what corrupts that intention, and it removes that nobility. Even the people that are, kind of unquestionably good, they are put in such an ugly situation, and they really don't get the kind of justice that you might, going into this movie, assume they should get. The supporting cast are very much like products of the time. It's easy to dismiss them as products of the time, but when you listen to what they're saying, while they don't say exactly those kinds of things today, that rhetoric is still around, because listen to what these people believe. Listen to what they write down as science, when we know currently, like today in present day, that that's not science at all. They say things as fact that are just absolutely not true. Kind of like, are you telling me people in 2000 like drank water? Well, yeah, water's poison, bro. You didn't know that? But what about what about the science? Oh boy. Like, that sounds ridiculous, but that's kind of what it's like when you listen to the absurdities that come out of their mouth. Like, it sounds like that. Your most despicable characters, like, slight spoiler, there's a mother who's just a douchebag, like through and through, just a douchebag. Has a conversation at a certain point in the movie and says some things to Marguerite's character, and you're listening to it, and immediately you're like, yo, why would you say something like that? But then you sit with it and you understand that is the truth of how the world works. Like, sometimes something bad happens to you and you want justice and you want to pursue it with everything you have, but the logistics of your life do not allow you to pursue your ideal circumstance. So sometimes you just gotta sit on stuff. Practicality is absolutely the enemy of morality. I appreciate the fact that it touches on greatness and the pursuit of greatness and what it costs to be great. Your greatness is going to be built on the back of somebody else. Do you want to harm another person in that way? If you're lucky, the person you'll get to stand on is some less deserving, cruel person or something like that. But more often than not, it's your friends, it's your family, it's the people you care about that end up getting stepped on. The final battle is absolutely business, though. That fight is so dirty and so grimy and so vicious that I had to avert my eyes at times. I love it. It crescendos to a climax of, dare I say, epic proportions. I like the movie. It's a very long movie. It's 2.5 hours, and it feels like 2.5 hours, but I think it needed to be 2.5 hours. It's a movie very much about perspective. I think that as long as you can maintain that line, it's okay to show multiple sides to the story. So my recommendation, this movie, I think is well made. If you're looking for some epic odyssey, like just adventure, you're not gonna get that from this one. Okay, so as promised, I am now going to tell you the incident that happens. The character of Marguerite gets raped. So my concern isn't with the fact that they showed it, though that could be some people's concerns. It's important to know that they showed it. If that's too much for you, then that's fine. I mean, that's incredibly triggering. I get that. If you don't want to see that kind of thing, avoid the movie altogether. It's in there. But that's not what I think the main problem is. What I think the main problem is the fact that they show it twice. Like I said, they do a perspective thing. They show Marguerite's side of the story, and then they show the person who raped her's side of the story. The two perspectives from the rapist and Marguerite the victim are not different enough to justify showing the scene twice. And because of that, I think that it should have only been shown the one time, if you had to show it at all. At the end, the catharsis is not really what you might want it to be, but I do think it's well made. I think the dialogue is great. I think all the actors do fine jobs. I think the costumes are amazing. I think the music is a little lackluster, but you know, whatever. But I'll remember it for a while. I did really enjoy it. And speaking of, if you enjoyed this video, if you enjoyed listening to me talk about nonsense for the last however long this video is, leave me a like, comment, subscribe if you want to, share the video, and I'll see y'all the next time it's time to talk about something nerdy. All right, later.